just in case you missed the news, the sky is falling. The X-Men are evil. They've taken in all of their villains. Xavier's dream is dead. Or at least that's what people would have you believe with the current run, known as Hickman's run, the House of X, the Power of X. But as a longtime fan who still has all of the versions of this copy of the first issue, I'm not seeing it.
And welcome back to the heart of the stories we tell. I'm Rob the host, and this is another look deep into what makes a story, a theory on storytelling by a storyteller who believes that every story has merit. And tonight's episode is
House of X and Power of X. Okay, so for those of you not in the know, it is a new comic book 6-issue miniseries. House of X 1 through 6, Power of X 1 through 6. And yes, they have taken a darker new tone with the X-Men. But I'm not ready to call them villain protagonists, although Apocalypse is starting to look that way. Now, the idea of a new take on the X-Men is nothing new. The fact that Fox just got bought out and the MCU can now do mutants does tell me that this might be the way they're looking to go forward in the future. And to be honest, there are some things that kind of trouble me. The drawing the line between the good and the bad guys, yeah, that's become kind of blurry, but that's been happening a lot in current storytelling. The fact that I don't see Professor X as being the good guy 100%, but I also don't see Magneto being the bad guy 100%. And let's be honest, it's not like this is the first time. There have been some cosmic shenanigans going on. But alright, this is where I normally would say, let me tell you what I do here. But let's be honest, it's been 2 months since you've heard from me. I don't know what I do here. I'm thinking about restarting this and trying to get things back in track, doing review videos for the new shows as they come up, especially some of the newer ones, but I haven't done some in a while. So I guess I can't really ask you to subscribe right now, but if you're interested, just keep a lookout, because this is not going to be my last video at the very least. But alright, so if you've been reading X-Men as long as I have, which is the 90s for the record, then you would know that they've had some ups and downs. Mostly downs lately. And I'll be honest, starting with around the time Bendis was writing them, I wasn't reading them. There's a lot of stuff going on that I had to look up on Wikipedia or ask my friends that were reading those runs, because I really don't know. Last time I knew Sinister as a Machiavellian mastermind in the background in a children's nightmare story. Nowadays, I guess he's a little more, what's the word Comics Explained used? Sassy. But at the same time, I mean, I don't even recognize all these costumes of Jean. So I started picking up again around the time of Disassembled, I think it was. X-Men Red. X-Men Blue. And with that, I have been reading pretty much wholeheartedly. And I have to admit, as much as Apocalypse is not the type of villain I would expect to see get a face-heel turn, I'm really liking this run best of all. By the way, Pocky here is totally the Disney princess. Look at him talking to the bird, isn't that cute? And yeah, there's questions that are still left to be unanswered, like how adamantine can be made, and rebirth chambers, and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people have missed what the story is really trying to get to. And I'll be honest, I was originally thinking about doing a video on this by comparing it to Doomsday Clock, which is a 12-issue miniseries that has taken 2 years to get out. Meanwhile, these 12 issues are going to be out in 12 weeks. But I decided not to kick a guy when he was down, and right now the guy writing Doomsday Clock feels that way. So, what we have here is just a retelling of the basic we want a mutant nation. Normally we see Magneto at its head, but this time we have Xavier there. And that's very different. But we also have other things that are different. Like the fact that the issue that dropped that is making me record this showcases the fact that Xavier and Magneto are capable of resurrecting every mutant ever. Let that sink in for a second. And now people are like, oh my god, doesn't that destroy all credibility? How can a comic book have people resurrected left and right? To which I'm like, you're obviously new to the X-Men. I could have swore I saw someone do a top 10 favorite deaths of Xavier, and only like 2 of them were out of continuity. And I'm pretty sure Jean's died more times than I have hands on one finger, or fingers on one hand. And on top of that, they just resurrected Wolverine. I mean, come on. It's a joke, the revolving door. So my first question to you is this. Do you think that making it in story point for the revolving door of death is a good idea or a bad idea? So, really quickly, Xavier's dream is for a day when humans and mutants can live together in peaceful harmony. This doesn't mean everyone sings Kumbaya. There'll still be bad guys. Some of the bad guys will be humans, some of the bad guys will be mutants. It happens. But in general, just being a mutant won't be a reason to hunt and kill you. And there are people saying that that dream pretty much died with this issue, or with this storyline in general. And I just don't see it. What they've done is they've taken the X-Men out of New York, and they've said instead of trying to fight from within the system, they want to create their own nation state. And this isn't the first time they've done it. Normally it's the bad guys that do it. And I will tell you this right now, I am one of the biggest proponents of the fact that if the bad guys were doing exactly the same thing the good guys are doing in this story, it would still be an X-Men story. It would just be an X-Men story where they were fighting against the evil Krakoa. Now, the thing is it's not the bad guys. And like I said in my Superman Joins the X-Men video, one of the big things is we get to see inside their minds a little. We get to see they're the good guys. We get to hear Jean Grey say things like, keep the casualties to a minimum. We're here to save lives. And we're going to get to see that sort of thing. So yeah, they're working with bad people. And yeah, there's some questionable stuff. I mean, really questionable. But that's nothing new to Xavier. He's been doing questionable stuff for a while. So yeah, the dream isn't dead, but the dream has been changed. The dream is now that the villains can come in and all the mutants can live here in harmony. And with them will come a mutant utopia, a way to renegotiate from a place of strength. Or as one of the guys on the message board put it, next time Apocalypse comes for you, we won't be there to protect you, because it'll be because you messed up. You took us for granted. And there are bits of the story I don't like. Like, I understand a certain amount of, hey, we're going to welcome people in, even some of the bad guys. But there's this whole subplot where they let Creed, Sabretooth, run amok and kill a bunch of people, and then basically broke him out of prison. And I'm not cool with that. And there's some really dark things going on. And I actually have a funny story for you about this are the X-Men egg hatchlings and pod people or not. But in general, like I said, it's questionable stuff. There's gray areas. And X-Men have always been about gray areas. So my second question to you is, does this to you feel any different than other gray areas we've covered in the past with the X-Men? But okay, final one, and this one comes with a funny story. Right before the X-Strike Force went on their raid in House 4, I went on vacation, so that Wednesday I had to avoid spoilers. All the way up through Saturday when I came home. When I came home, I didn't get to the comic book store, but I was hanging out with some of my friends, and one of them said, aren't you going to be mad if Matt, my friend that reads comics too, in fact owns a comic book store, comes in and like just drops a big spoiler? I'm like, nah, he never does. But now that I say that, you wait and watch. He's going to be like, oh my god, did you see how Cyclops died? And we all got a big joke out of that, because of course Cyclops doesn't die. Spoiler alert, Cyclops dies. The whole team dies. But that's okay, because they have a way of resurrecting mutants now. And it really is pretty magical. But at the end of the day, it's all based on combining 5 mutant special abilities and the Cerebro system. And through all of this, I sit there and I say, that's really not that big of a game changer. I mean, in universe it is, but out of universe, we already know. The X-Men have a revolving door of death. Like I said at the beginning, how many times have we seen characters die just to be resurrected? In the same story, no less. There's also a rumor going around that the X universe is going to be much more open sexually because of the fact that Hickman wants to write them as just evolved humans, and as such evolved mentally too, to allow for things that we don't, like polygamy and stuff like that. I'm not sure I buy it, but I definitely would be open to seeing if it worked. For now, though, I'm mostly in this just to see what happens next. And there's part of me that just is a little mad that they call Apocalypse the first mutant, when, hey, did everyone forget about Selene again? I mean, she's in the issue. She's older than him. But I'm also still firmly I'm still firmly on the side of the fact that Apocalypse's first four horsemen here are going to make a huge comeback. That's way too much of a Chekhov's gun. And I would not be surprised if that was a big crossover this summer coming up. But for now, I'm not quite ready to be 100% back with this channel. But in general, I hope that you liked this. I want to thank my Patreons. I want to thank you guys for paying attention, even though it's been 2 months. And like I said at the top of the video, I want to figure out a way to get this going right again. So if you have any suggestions on what I can do, either for videos like this or for just review videos, Picard's coming out soon, so is The Crisis on Infinite Earth with the CW shows, Batgirl's going to be back. There are a bunch of cool things, plus all the Disney Plus stuff. Let me know in the comments. For now, I hope you have a good day, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.